is doing good. I'm gonna apologize ahead of time. There is a lot of construction going on in my HOA because there was a lot of safety hazards with patios and stairways and things like that, and now they're finally fixing it, but that also means loud equipment. So they're not next door to me today, thank God, but they are on the other side of me, so we may hear some of it. I'm sorry, I can't control that. But I hope you guys can hear me okay otherwise. Hey, Helen. How are you? Hey, Lindsay. It also seems very fitting that, you know, they decide to do the construction finally during Mercury retrograde. Just so that they can make sure that things just might not happen the way they're supposed to. Hey, Maddie. Hey, how are you? Okay, good. I'm glad you can hear me okay. So, hey, Kia, how are you? And sorry I did end up having to reschedule it because, like I said, they were literally right there, so it was like way too loud. And just a heads up, we're going to start doing these lives on Wednesdays because I have some stuff that I have to do in real life that can only be done on Tuesdays going forward. So we're just going to do the same time, but on Wednesdays instead after this. So this Mercury retrograde has been a freaking retrograding like you would not freaking believe. I'm just like, oh my God, usually when a Mercury retrograde period is like intense in the pre-shadow phase and you get affected like by pre-shadow, usually then come, you know, the actual retrograde and the post-shadow period, you should be like relatively okay, because I noticed like different times affect people differently, and obviously that probably depends on like your own chart and, you know, what sign the retrograde is in and other planets and stuff too. But like this one, it was the second that we even started creeping up on the pre-shadow all the way through up to today. I'm just like, when are you gonna calm down? I know I'm a cardinal sign and I got cardinal signs up and down my freaking chart, and this is supposed to be for cardinal people, but like, come on, give me a break. Oh my God, thank you, Lindsay. I was literally like rushing to get ready, so I feel like I look like crap right now. Hey, Donna. Mercury will behave. He's your guy. Okay, will you take care of that for me, please? Put in a good word for me. Hey, Amanda. You had to log off social media. So much was going on. Listen, I don't even understand the Merc drama because to me nothing ever happens, and I'm a Gemini, so maybe that's why I don't really care much. Most of the Geminis I know like really don't get that bugged out during Mercury retrograde, but like Virgos and people that have like strong Virgo placements, like I have a Virgo moon, like we seem to like get it. And I'm like, how come like the other like sign that gets ruled by that planet seems to be okay, but like we get screwed with? So, but oh my God, Maddie, I was just gonna say, I swear to God, the irony of life, right? Like the very few days that I actually don't have a lot going on because like maybe I had a couple clients that were scheduled in the morning and they had to reschedule at the last second or something, so I suddenly have a couple hours free. Nothing in the entire world happens. Like there's literally like no news to report on. Absolutely nothing is going on that needs to be like discussed or that would even be interesting to talk about. The days that I have like 20 clients back to back, and my kid also has like a science project that he needs help with, that's when like everybody in the entire world decides to get in a fight with each other. Or something like crazy happens, like Diddy gets raided, and I'm just like, really? So I'm gonna have to wait until like 10 o'clock tonight before I can even sit down and like figure out what happens and put it all together and then give my insights. Hey, Anisha. Oh my God, Lindsay, I was gonna say too, I was worried because I feel like I have dry mouth coming on because I drank this like wellness shot and it didn't have THC in it. It was like seagrass and, you know, vitamin C and collagen like thing. It was so disgusting. And ever since then, like I drank it like 2 hours ago. My mouth keeps like, I feel like Wendy Williams on her damn show. Like I need my tea and my cough drop. And oh my God, I threw the other ones away. They were so gross. I was like, there's no way in hell like me and my kid are gonna drink the rest of these. Somebody gave them to me, but oh my God, it was the nastiest thing ever. Yes, RIP to OJ. If you're in my Patreon, you know the truth about that whole situation and that man. And by the way, if you want to join us for exclusives, you can join us on patreon.com/psychicbellalove. That's the only place that I do take requests for any celebrity readings, and my Tuesday lives are usually chosen by my Patreons. Obviously with the Diddy situation, and then this week we had to update, you know, because JT got into it with everybody as I predicted that she would. But otherwise, usually our Tuesday lives are picked by them. No, I didn't see Caitlin's statement. I was on the phone all morning because obviously since I had to reschedule the live, I had to cram this into whatever time and day I could get in on this week. And so, but guys, and next week, our live will most likely be in the evening, and we will have a very special surprise guest that I will post about this weekend, who's going to be joining me to do a reading. So that one won't be chosen by my Patreons either, but you guys will see what the topic and everything is when I post everything. So keep your eyes peeled on the community tab on Sunday. So you never eat vinegar chips for a similar reason. Dude, they're so good with a sandwich though. But like, I just can't eat a bag of them on my own because that's when it like is too much. So no, I didn't see that. I just like literally like was able to get on Instagram for a couple minutes here and there in between calls this morning. So I missed that. I probably missed a bunch of stuff, but all right, Kia, I'll see you later. And shout out to the replay crew. And if you are watching this and you are not subscribed, make sure you do, because we will have another giveaway when we hit, I don't even know how many subscribers we're currently at. Oh, like, hold on, where are we at? I forgot. Oh, we are at 9 subscribers away from our next giveaway. So when we hit 6,300 subscribers, we'll do a little mini giveaway. So, all right. So anyways, let's talk about Kendrick and J. Cole real quick. So first of all, I told you guys that J. Cole was obviously, you know, not really like hyped to get pulled into it, but that he would respond, you know, but he would do it on his own. So I'm not surprised that he ended up apologizing, because I think that you could even tell by like his verse, like his heart wasn't in it. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna get like, I think that he felt like he was gonna get like shit all over if he didn't respond. So I'm honestly like not at all, you know, surprised that he apologized. Allegedly tomorrow Drake is dropping his response, but also when I was able to be on Instagram for 5 minutes earlier, I saw on Millie's page that he canceled like the rest of his tour dates that he had coming up. And, you know, of course, it was like, let's see if the bigger blogs actually repost that or not, because, you know, God forbid, Nikki like cancels the show or has to reschedule because she's sick, you know, and it's like, okay, do you want the girl to go to the hospital? But like, they act like, oh my God, Nikki canceled, what a big deal. And also, future Metro Boomin's follow-up is supposed to release tomorrow too. So I just want to see what Spirit has to say is going to be the energy around that real quick. And then we'll get into the Jay's He stuff. I know, I was shocked that he did too, but I kind of wasn't surprised at the same time. But I mean, when we were reading on it, he just had this like really like why do I have to be involved kind of energy towards the whole situation anyways. And he definitely didn't want to like go team up with Drake to like do something about it either. So, I mean, Cole's just never been that type of dude in the industry, right? So, but did y'all see Meek's temper tantrum because Wale took a picture with somebody that Meek doesn't like? I was just like, you know that Meek Mills has a freaking burn book in his house. He probably has the exact same one from the Mean Girls movie. And he writes in it about all the guys in the industry that he thinks don't like him or that he has a problem with. And he was probably, before he started tweeting, looking at Wale's picture in his book, writing down, "You are the nastiest bitch I have ever met." He's that damn sassy that you know that's probably his favorite fucking movie. He probably thinks he's Lindsay Lohan. Like, I wouldn't put anything past him. The only thing that I found so funny was that, like, somebody in the comments on, like, one of the posts, like, about that, his little tantrum was like, you know what? As much as we all crap on Meek, he's got something about him because look at how many millionaires he's pulled. They were like, his dating record is elite. And they were like, he's gotten Drake, Rick Ross, Jay-Z, Mike Rubin, Nicki Minaj. I was just like, please leave Nikki out of this. Can we all forget that she ever dated that man? I mean, the fact that you're more embarrassing than Safari, and Safari like is the most embarrassing person in the entire world. But we were also making fun of him like on one blog comment on the thread because, you know, when he first responded to all of those allegations and he was like, if I'm with a woman, she has to sleep with me twice a day. We were like, he sounds like Steve Carell from the 40-Year-Old Virgin when they asked him what boobs felt like. And he said balloons of sand or bags of sand or whatever the hell he said. Where it's like, yeah, you have no idea what it's like to be with a woman. And somebody said that Meek was tweeting with broken crayons. He had to go look up all the words that Wale was like responding to him with because he didn't know what vitriol meant and the other big words that he was saying. And then I saw all the people from DC checking him and being like, Meek, you're not from here. You're not going to come here and turn up the streets and turn them around and get everybody to go after Wale. And then Meek was like, well, no, I wasn't saying all of DC. He started backtracking on himself. I was just like, just be quiet. Like, please go away and get off the internet because you make everything so much worse. And then we were talking about, can you imagine being Mike Rubin and those other people that we make fun of him for being around and being on all those private planes because they probably have to listen to Meek's shit. And we were like, well, no wonder that he had his issues with, you know, perks and lean because they were probably like, here, please, God, knock the out. Have some more pills. Drink some more lean. Shut up. Because there's no way in hell I could be around that man. Oh, my God. I would end up punching him in the face just to make him be quiet. Does he even have a PR team? Obviously not. He should be writing the book, not Safari, right? I mean, the fact that Gene Vest thinks that he's writing a book about like dating celebrities, I'm like, so this just has to be your memoir about dating Nicki, because all you've done is be the pass around on Love and Hip Hop, where you get to go pretend to be somebody else's boyfriend on another franchise to give them a storyline. None of those people are famous. Nobody wants to date any of them in real life. So like, what the hell is this book even gonna be about, unless it's like, here's all the ways that I totally screwed up and lost the best thing that ever happened to me, and don't be like me. Then maybe we'll learn something. Every time I see him, I'm just like, how did you pull Nicki? I have no idea how Safari or Meek pulled Nicki, to be honest with you. And it's so hilarious because Kenny is just the complete opposite of the both of them. And I'm like, thank God Nicki stopped dating cornballs and got herself a real fucking man for once. Oh my God, who freaking knows, man? I don't understand, because I mean, this is the thing. Even if Meek has like such a great pussy and he's just so easy, there's plenty of other dudes in the industry that are not as annoying and are way better looking and probably better artists that would also be willing to get passed around in order to get a bunch of opportunities too. So like, what the appeal is with Meek of all people, I have no freaking clue. I will never be able to understand that, because I've always thought Meek was just from the moment I ever laid eyes on him. Him and the other person that, like, when everybody was like overhyping them and I was like, what in the fuck did everybody smoke? Young Thug. When he first popped out and he was like deep throating rifles and wedding dresses and singing songs about his best friend in a forest, I was like, what in the F is like everybody collectively on that y'all think this is good music and you're telling people to listen to it? Because I kept seeing people, this was back when I was still on Facebook, like hyping him up. And I was like, what? This is horrible. Like, he's cleaned himself up and he looks a lot better these days. But like, when he first came out, I was like, no. Oh my God, Lindsay, that's freaking hilarious. Pass around Meek, he's submissive. Especially since he screams every time he raps. Dude, can we also talk about how people don't point out that Carlos screams when she raps too? Like, her and Meek seem to not understand that the microphone is not in a different building than them. And they just scream. And I'm like, nobody ever clocks the fact that that's how Carlos raps. And it doesn't matter if she's rapping in Spanish or whatever she thinks is Spanish or whatever she thinks is English or whatever made up language she speaks. She screams. And I'm just like, oh my God, even if I was gonna like this song, I can't get past you screaming to even try to give it a chance. And then on top of it, everything is coming out mangled too. So it's like screaming unintelligibly. Oh my God. So anyways, we'll get on to the people who can't say anything correctly to save their lives when we get to the Carisha part of the live. So, okay, I still see, this is the thing that Drake definitely knows that he has to respond, because if he doesn't, he was trying to kind of see, like, can I skate past this and just, like, let it blow over and act like I'm above it? And people will buy that because he's scared. And like we said last time, like, whatever people were coming to him and bringing to him as far as, like, ghost writers and ideas and everything, he felt like none of it was good enough. And so now he's kind of overhyped himself into thinking like, oh my God, I wrote the best response ever. But the thing is, I feel everybody calling it hella fucking corny and clowning him. Of course, his little, you know, stan boys that'll lick his butt and praise him for everything. And those are probably the same people that also like keep Fab and Funky and Fresh podcasts going, are gonna be like, oh my God, yes, Drake killed it. But like everybody else is gonna be like, okay, dude, like really? You took all that time to come back with this shit? Like, can you please just go away? So, you know, it's just not gonna like work out the way that he's hoping that it's going to, because Spirit's literally talking about him like kind of painting himself into a corner and being very upset with the outcome. But again, it's his fault because he was running around cocky talking shit, and he didn't really think that anybody was gonna like go in on him like as hard as they did. And then he also, because Drake has such an ego, you know, him and Watto have this in common, where they think that they are far better and give themselves far more credit than they deserve. Because he really does think that he's the sixth god and the king of rap and all this crap, and that, you know, oh, people aren't gonna take what those morons have to say about me seriously. But yes, they fucking did. You know, because like I told you guys, we're creeping up on it being the same situation that we're seeing happening with J-Lo right now, where everybody just collectively decided that, you know what, she actually wasn't all of that. And why did we like put this girl in this position that we did? And now people are, you know, dragging her for not only everything that she does now, but going back and dragging her for old shit all over again. We're gonna see that with the Kardashians, with Drake, with, you know, there's probably other people that will see that tide turning towards them too. So just pay attention. I see that like Beyonce is kind of getting a lot of that as well. So, you know, and that's a bigger part of the whole overall like celebrity worship culture, like coming to an end with the spiritual war and the Great Awakening, and forcing people to kind of have to see what's really going on. And as you guys see, I've told you guys as well, we would see them be more and more and more in our faces with all of the, you know, demonic symbolism and the darkness and all of that kind of stuff too, which you guys saw Carlos did that whole Baphomet themed photo shoot to promote whatever the fuck that song was called. Because Jesus Christ, I did not listen to any of it. I didn't see anybody posting about it. So I don't think I ever even knew like what in the hell like she did or didn't call it or say it in it or anything. I wonder what Scorpio placements does Lotto have in her big three. They are all three getting whacked. Whoever has it. Robot, J-Ho, Aubrey, Diddlebop. That's true, huh? And doesn't Robot have like a Virgo or a Scorpio moon or rising or something like that? It was I think it was to promote that stupid song. I don't even know, because that's the thing. I hardly see anybody. Do you guys notice that? Like, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like Carlos gets like maybe one post out of a blog, but they don't really like be posting everything that she's doing the same way that they used to. And again, that's proof that her label is not investing in her, because, you know, 99.99% of the time, unless that artist has a really good relationship with that blog, you know, like her and Ken Barbie or something, blogs, when they're reposting like an artist, oh, look at this, their song's going viral, or look at everybody that's joining in the TikTok challenge for this song or whatever, it's because the label paid the blogs to post that, you know, to make the artist go viral and to keep the like, you know, them in your face and the visibility and all that kind of stuff and to promote it. But they're obviously not paying all of those blogs to keep posting about her the way that they used to. So, okay, that's what I thought, but I couldn't remember. Thank you. Well, this is the thing. Typically, what I've noticed, and again, I'm not an astrologer, but I have noticed that people tend to, whatever sign precedes you and comes after you, you either have like a serious love-hate relationship with them. Because I know that there's like a lot of Libras like me who like get along really good with Virgos. And then there's like a lot of them that like cannot fucking stand them, but they'll like have like great connections with Scorpios. Whereas the ones of us that like seem to get along really good with the Virgos, like us and Scorpios are like freaking oil and water and we do not mix. And I noticed that like it's the same thing with like Sagittariuses and Scorpios and Capricorns, you know, and like just paying attention. Like I noticed that every sign has that where it's like you either like the sign that was before you or after you, or you hate their guts, and there's kind of like no in between sometimes. So, well, that's the thing that she used to sit there and act like every time that they posted her drama that she was pissed off and stop posting about me. Because this is the thing about Carlos that she will never freaking understand and will always make her mental health suffer, is that Carlos literally thinks that she can change people's minds about her by controlling how people talk about her. And that's not how it works, you know? Like if she gets mad because like a blog post that she told somebody to go off themselves or called somebody else a roach, then she has a hissy fit and never wants the blog to post about her again. But then obviously when she has music or they bought her an award or, you know, they use payola to get her like in the top of the charts, then all of a sudden she wants them to post about her. And she gets mad when people don't agree with her or don't like her behavior. And it's like, you can't make everybody lick your ass and love every goddamn thing that you do, Carlos. Like, even the artists that people absolutely love, like, I love Kanye. Everybody freaking knows that. But, like, do I sit there? Am I happy? Am I like, yes, Kanye, go, let's go? Like, when he's, like, getting into his, like, moments. No, I'm just like, oh my God, here we go again. Please stop. But same thing that Nikki does plenty of shit that I know me and other barbs like don't agree with, or we're like, oh, I wish you would have handled that differently. Like, that's called being a human. We don't just co-sign everything. We still have to have some sort of morals and values. Otherwise, we're just lost as humans. But Carlos really thinks like, oh no, everybody has to 100% agree with every single thing that she does, right or wrong, all the time. And she will fight with you to try to change your mind. And it's like, that just makes people, if somebody already doesn't like you, fighting with them about why they don't like you is not going to make them like you. It's just going to make them hate your ass even more. And then make a whole bunch of other people also be like, you know what? I don't like her either. Like, she doesn't get that. And then she lets it get to her and she goes on these crazy ass rants and always has all these insecurities. And it's like, she just needs to hire a decent social media team, take all of the apps off of her phone, never go live again, and only let them just post on her behalf when she does have anything worthwhile to post, you know. And if you don't, then post some cute pictures of the kids, but like, get the hell off the internet. Let me see. If you don't build a media relationship, what are you doing? Why is everyone doing visualizers and lyrical videos but no music videos? You know why? Because there's not like sales and just money in general when it comes to like music is down so much right now. And especially, you know, look at how much a lot of these labels, and this is why, you know, the whole UMG thing and them separating from TikTok and other labels being restrictive about like other platforms being able to use like certain music and stuff, that has really affected a lot of labels and artists because they depended on TikTok to make a song viral. Because think about it, people like Coil Ray, like Coil Ray's on Republic, so obviously now like she can't utilize TikTok in the same, you know, way that she was to like make her songs pop and stuff. Without TikTok, do you guys really think that Coil Ray is gonna have a whole lot of success on her own and just trying to take advantage of like other ways to promote her music? Probably fucking not. Let's be dead ass honest. And so that obviously like affects things. And if people are not generally checking for an artist like that anyways, then obviously them investing in a music video, because that costs money, you know, it has to be that there's some sort of a return on that investment. And so if you have an artist that's already like new, bubbling under, maybe you're still trying to kind of figure out a way that you are going to push them, that's why they're just doing those visualizers. And then even people that are more established or were able to sell in the past, they're still struggling with people not buying whole entire albums or just only streaming and not, you know, purchasing things because those are extra expenses. And obviously we're in a recession, even though nobody wants to admit it. So, you know, it's like, can you justify if you also have to put gas in your car or buy groceries to pay for the whole album when you can just already stream it because you already have a subscription to Spotify, you know? And then when you think about it too, like, there are certain demographics of people that always want to watch a music video, but not everybody is dependent on having a music video either. So it's just one of those things where it's like, I think that that stuff is really going to just keep falling by the wayside more and more and more. And that less and less artists are going to do stuff like that. Or if we do get anything, it's going to be like some little kind of, you know, for the fans, clips of shows and behind the scenes stuffs and pictures and things like that, you know, not like a real actual music video. Chris paid for his music video because his label refused to pay for it a while back. Don't know if that's still the case. Didn't Normani pay for the video for Wild Side because her label wasn't trying to let her have the video too? Because I know there's like a lot of artists that have had that issue like throughout their careers. But again too, guys, like, you know, I've always told you guys too, even people that we think are like, okay, they're not in a 360 and they've more than proven themselves in this industry, they all still have stories, you know, that you can go back and listen to certain interviews where they've said that they had to fight the label, like because they did or didn't want certain songs on the album, or they did want a certain song to be released as a single and the label was trying not to do it, so they were forced to have to like pay for everything themselves. Like Ariana Grande talked about that on, I think it was the Zach Sang interview around the Sweetener era. And, you know, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince, like they've all had stories like that. So like, you know, that's the sad thing, is that even when you are a super talented artist that you would think would have so much creative control over their own career at that point, they still, you know, have to fight for their life in this industry. So, ooh, Tiffany, that's a good one. I can't read that out loud because of the word that's in there, but that is a good one. Music nowadays sucks, dude. I've been listening to like Fleetwood Mac and, you know, bands like that and stuff recently. And older music just in general. Like yesterday, my Uber driver was listening to like Sting. And it's just listening to like how good that these people were, like the instruments that they were playing. Like, you know, even if you think like Sting's cheesy, like the people that are playing guitars in his music are obviously extremely talented people. You know, he had an extremely talented mixer and engineer that worked on that song to make it sound good when you listen to it. Like, there's just no comparison when you really go back and listen to older music and then what's being currently put out, where it's just like half the damn songs that you listen to these days, it's like, who the hell even mixed that? Because there's so many songs that I listen to where like the background is so loud that you can't even hear what the person is saying. Like, that was my biggest pet peeve with Chloe Bailey's album. I listened to that through the TV, through my freaking speakers, through 5 different headsets, just through my phone itself, like through the car, trying to find the best way to listen to this, to give this girl a fair chance. Because so many of her songs, I couldn't understand the words that she was trying to articulate because the background music was so loud or it was so poorly mixed. And so that's just, you know, it's like they throw something together sloppy these days on top of the music being so dumbed down, because it's like, you know, again, when you listen to like somebody like Fleetwood Mac, and especially if you're a fan of them and you know anything about them, you know that like a lot of their most famous songs started off as like a short story or a poem that Stevie Nicks or even Lindsey Buckingham wrote. And then, you know, they worked together as a group to turn it into a song. And that then later on, you know, as relationships broke up and formed within the group, like a lot of their songs are about each other. So that adds like such a different element to it. But there's a real story behind every song. It's not just, let me get on here and talk about my coochie and get in a bag and how, you know, dudes ain't shit these days and I'm better than everybody. Like, there's a whole story behind the song. The lyrics are amazing. You can tell that they really put their heart in, they were passionate about it. You can feel the difference too, just like of who put this in there and why they did it and everything. And, you know, you listen to that and then I'm just sorry to these girls, but not sorry. Then you try to listen to Ice Spice or Sexy Red, and it's like, did you even try? Because you're a little monotone, barely on beat. Look at me. Fuck your baby daddy. I'm cool. Is not music to me, especially after listening to something like the Rolling Stones or Fleetwood Mac. Or Michael Jackson or Prince or anybody else that could make a really great song. If it ain't ye, it's never mixed right. Metro does a good job, yeah. I know. Timbaland's a really good producer too, but I think that Kanye is really good. I wish that, honestly, I would love to see Chloe be able to work with Kanye. I know it's probably too controversial for her right now, especially after all the shit she got for working with Chris Brown on that one song. But Kanye, if you listen to the songs that he did with Brandy, he is so, and Tayana too, he's really good. And even Jay-Z and Beyonce have said this about him, that he's really good at working with female vocalists and finding a sound and a vibe and an energy that works the best with them as not only a person, but as their vocal abilities and their talent. And so that's why, like, a lot of the songs that he's done, you know, with Beyonce, people say is her best. Or, you know, that's why Brandy, like, during her, you know, I'm not a little girl, I'm a grown-ass woman era, the Full Moon album, it was because she worked with people like Rodney Jerkins and Kanye that were able to, like, really bring that side of her out and help her transition. And you know, if we think back, if you're old enough to remember when Beyonce was going solo from Destiny's Child, like, I saw Jaguar write somewhere that it was a mess. She ain't never lied when it comes to that situation, okay? Because people were still side-eyeing Beyonce because of all the Destiny's Child drama. And they weren't really like feeling her music. It wasn't until Crazy in Love and she stole Anne Marie's whole like thing that people really started to be interested in her. Like, people thought that she was kind of a joke and were like over her. And Brandy, I think her coming out, because obviously she didn't have to go solo, she already was, but look at Miley Cyrus trying to transition from Disney kid to, you know, grown-ass adult. Like, that was a mess. Demi Lovato, that was a mess. Like, Brandy didn't have a super messy transition like that. And musically, she transitioned over beautifully from teen girl music to grown woman music that you wanted to listen to, you know, as you're out there finding your first adult relationships and going to clubs and getting your first job and going to college and all that. And I wish to God that they would have done something like that with Chloe Bailey instead of the mess that it ended up being with her, from over-sexualizing her to try, you know, because that was the point of, look she's grown now. Look she's got boobs and a butt. And she's going to shake it constantly. And she can't just stand still to sing the damn song. And that turned so many people off of her. Then you added in all of the like mess of that like album. And it's like, if she would have been able to work with Timbaland, Rodney Jerkins, Kanye, somebody like that, oh, that whole situation would have been so different. And that's why I just feel like Beyonce and Parkwood have failed those girls so freaking miserably. But I also know that she does it on purpose because she doesn't want them to really succeed, because then they'll have to compete with Blue when she thinks that Blue is ready to push out in front of us. So Full Moon is an amazing freaking album. I was listening to that album all last week on repeat. So Brandy was so eclectic and unique that her Aphrodisiac album wasn't fully accepted. I feel like that, like, these days that album would have like done numbers, you know. But anyways, so as I told you guys, all of the girls would be fighting each other while Nicki was on tour, because, you know, now they all want to like release their music, because nobody wanted to release around the same time that she was. And even though they put out singles, you know, testing the water, nobody was really gonna drop a whole album. So what do we, you know, we know that they all subscribe, and we talked about this, that they need to knock it the fuck off because people are getting tired of it and seeing through it. But a lot of them, it is, let me pick, let me start, you know, because they want the traction into trends, because either they had something that just came out or they have something that's coming out. And so everybody, you know, decided that they were going to pick at JT to promote their own garbage. First things first, I don't know if y'all saw, but if you don't, you should follow Female Rap Game on Instagram. I know they're also on Twitter. I'm not on there, so I just know of them from Instagram. But they posted how, like, the first 12 hours that Young Miami's song was, whoever that was that she put it out with, I can't remember the name right now. You guys, it had 10,000 views and 1,000 likes. I was like, Jesus Christ, like, I've had videos that have those freaking numbers, and I got 6,000 followers, and I'm not freaking famous or signed to a record label, and everybody doesn't know me. Hey Soul, I'm glad that you were able to tune in with us. So, and hey to everybody that is in the chat that I didn't get to say hi to earlier. But yeah, nobody was interested in that damn song at all, even after she spent all day picking at JT and fighting with her publicly to promote it. Because let's be dead ass honest, that's 100% what that was. I mean, Carisha's been feeling a type of way, and again, I also told you that JT and Carisha and Santana would all get into it publicly. So, you know, she's been looking for her moment, obviously. She just felt like she found it. But I have to say, one of the funniest comments because I was on the phone all day that day, so I was like, every time I would come back, like all the blogs were like posting like more tweets. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait until this is all over, and then I'll come back and like try to figure out from start to finish what happened, because trying to catch up in the middle was too much. But I saw a comment on one of the blogs that somebody said Carlos was sitting there with 2 cigarettes trying to figure out how she could include herself. And I was cracking up, and then somebody commented back and said, well, she doesn't have anything to promote right now, so that's why she's gonna be quiet. So I was like, maybe if it was a couple months ago and that song that nobody knows the name of was trying to come out, then she would have been all up in the mix. But right now she doesn't have anything, so it's like, I'm just gonna be quiet. You couldn't believe the City Girls drama came true because of Glorilla. God does work in mysterious ways. Listen, I was fucking dying laughing when JT was telling Glorilla to go have Sweetie buy her another wig. Because child, oh my God, I was cracking the fuck up because they did Sweetie so damn dirty and wrong for that situation. And Sweetie really is such a girl's girl. And like, people just pick at her all the time, or they're so mean to her for no reason. So yes, I love that JT's really stepping into the whole like fashion girl thing, because I've always said, I think JT is way prettier than Carisha, because JT has such like a high fashion like vibe to her. She looks more exotic. Things look better on her. Like, she poses better to me. And I also think that like when she wears certain things, and I think I always think that like chocolate women are so beautiful, and that the darker skin the model, like the better, because you can wear any color in the entire world and it looks great on you, but on top of it, like, it pops so much against the like beautiful shiny dark healthy skin like that. So I think that JT is much more of a high fashion girl than Carisha in the first place, because she just has more of that look to me. And I think that, you know, when Miami wears stuff, like sometimes it ends up looking cheap. Whereas like when JT wears something, you're like, oh, she put that on, like she looks good. So, and I think it's the attitude, you know, that goes with it, because when you think about it, like, look at Zendaya versus like Kendall Jenner. They basically have the same figure and body type. They're both tall with like legs that go for 1,000,000 miles and super skinny. But when Zendaya can wear a freaking garbage bag and you're like, oh my God, look at how great she looks. And then Kendall puts something on and you're just like, it's Kendall. Like, it just doesn't ever hit the same way, right? Because it's just the attitude and the confidence that they have with it. And maybe that Sagittarius thing, because Sag women are it. I definitely think so too, because, you know, honestly, if you think about it, a lot of the stuff that we see like Nicki wear, we'll see people like Kim Kardashian or even Remy Ma wear something very similar, especially like those like, you know, Mugler outfits, or just, you know, anything that's kind of like that real like tight, like, you know, full bodysuit type of look or whatever. And Nicki always like stands out way more than them, even though you know, Remy's taller. So like usually if somebody's taller wearing the same type of outfit, they just like carry it better because they have more legs and stuff to like wear that shit. But like it never hits the same on either of them as it does when you see Nicki wear a very similar or even the same type of outfit. So, and it's just, you know, it's that energy that somebody has with it. I definitely think it's because also there's such a difference between the motivation for JT and Carisha anyways, right? Like JT actually really has a passion for music, and she's showing that by being willing to go out and do, as Glorilla wanted to shit on her and say, the backyard barbecues. And, you know, she's going out there and she's doing the same thing that Nicki did at the beginning of her career. Building a fan base by going out in the clubs and interacting with your fans. And that's the smart thing to do because, you know, we talk about that a lot over here, how a lot of these girls like Lotto and Koi, that's where they fucked up because they didn't really establish any sort of a fan base. But you see that people who can make $500 million every Christmas, like Mariah Carey, they have their lambs that are always going to show up to every tour that they go to. They'll buy every greatest hits album. They'll buy every perfume or whatever the hell it is that you put out. And that's why Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Adele, you know, Taylor Swift, Nicki, Kanye, their fans, Chris Brown, you know, the people that put in the work of really developing a fan base, whether it was through social media or being out on the ground meeting people or because they had fan clubs being run for them or whatever, they still had that connection to people and built that relationship, which is why you don't have to be the media darling 20 years from now, but you can still go out on a tour and make a shit ton of money. You know, look at freaking the Rolling Stones. They can go on a world tour at like 105 years old and people will like go sell that shit out and show up. But like, are we really gonna expect that like, oh, the Rolling Stones would be the most exciting like thing in the world for the general public? Probably not so much. Same thing with the Grateful Dead. You know, they've been touring for a bazillion years too because of that. So JT is smart as fuck, you know, but she's willing to do that because she actually wants to have longevity and she's willing to put in the work because she has a real passion for this. Whereas Carisha, you know, it's the same thing with her and Carlos and Santana. They're just doing whatever the fuck is getting them the biggest bag the fastest because they don't want to go back to the hood or the pole or the drive-through at Jack in the Box. And, you know, they want to live in high rises and have money and wear designer clothes and shit on bitches and get plastic surgery and all of that. But they care more about the money and the fame and the lifestyle that comes with this. Whereas JT does not. And I think that her also getting into her fashion girl era is a natural evolution of that because it's like, obviously, you can have your whole motivation be, I'm here for the music, but also your look does count, obviously. So that's why so many of artists, you know, do end up developing an interest in fashion, especially if you care yourself how you're gonna look, you know, and you're not gonna be Kim Kardashian and only rely on stylists constantly to dress you, but that you take the time to learn what looks good on you and what you do and don't like so that you can also say, no, I'm not wearing that. That's stupid. Get me something else like Nicki or JT would. And so, of course, that comes with that. So, like, I think it's like the perfect, like, you know, thing for her and also sets her up with a bigger audience overall too, because even maybe, you know, there's always people that they may not have ever heard of JT or they didn't like the City Girls, But now JT, you know, they're aware because they saw her in an ad or they saw her in a fashion magazine. And they're like, you know what? I'm actually going to go and listen to JT's song and give her a chance and then end up falling in love with her and her music. And honestly, did you guys let me know in the comments? Same for you, replay crew. Did you guys listen to the Doechii song that she dropped with her? And what did you guys think? I personally have listened to that song probably 85 billion times. Honestly, if it doesn't end up on the Billboard, I'm gonna like scream that like there's definitely some interference going on, because just the amount of times that I personally have listened to that song should have at least got it cracking up to 99 and broken into the charts. But I really love Doechii's music. I know the Barbs don't like her, support her right now, but like I is just a fan of music, and I don't really like to get in the middle of beefs and hate people. This is my thing. I am always going to be on the side of the truth. So if somebody is a horrible fucking person through and through, like you know, Megan lying on Tory and putting an innocent man in jail, or R. Kelly or somebody like that, then like, no the fuck, I'm not listening to your music. I don't care. You could put out the greatest song that the world has ever heard, and I will refuse to listen to it because you don't deserve it. But if it's just you don't like somebody else or whatever, like, I don't really care about that. You know, that's between all of you guys, because, you know, as Wale told Meek, y'all get in these beefs and want people to take sides, and then what happens, y'all end up dapping it up, and then we end up looking like the fools because we got a problem with everybody because we took sides, you know. So it's just like people end up making up later on anyways. So I'm just like, if I like a song, I'm gonna listen to a song. Unless you turn out to be some horrible monster, then I'll stop listening to you. But just because you don't like somebody that I like, I'm not gonna like completely be like, oh, screw you. So these new girls don't want to do anything. They want it all instantly. Well, that's what I say, like, because all these girls have this crazy ass entitlement that they think that like, oh, because I said that I like Nicki, then automatically she needs to put me on her song, or I need her to come on my song. And it's like, would you do that to Lady Gaga or Taylor Swift? No, the fuck you wouldn't. And you certainly wouldn't do that to Beyonce or Jay-Z. So why the hell do you think that Nicki, who is just as established as an artist and a legend as those people, has to give you something that you wouldn't expect from any of those people who are her peers? Like, be dead ass honest and be for real with yourself. But these girls are so fucking delusional. It's insane, because I'm like, go demand that Lil Wayne needs to work with you. Go demand that any of those other fucking, actually, go demand that Kodak Black needs to work with you, because you know why? He will rip your ass a fucking new one. And then I get to laugh. Because when Kodak told Lotto about herself, oh my God, that was so funny. What was he calling her, Frappuccino or something? And remember, he's the one that outed her for being with 21. He's like, everybody knows that's 21's girl. Nobody was trying to get it. You stop lying. I used to not be able to just stand him, and now like I don't love his music, and I could do without his verse on the Doechii song that he was on. I listened to the solo version of that song, but he is fucking hilarious sometimes, and he don't be holding back, and I love it. It kind of gives 6ix9ine energy sometimes. And listen, do you guys miss Tekashi 6ix9ine just a little bit? Because this is my thing that I was thinking about. Bluetooth ended up being Tekashi's replacement, Bluetooth and Croissant, if you think about it. with like the really lowbrow, like cheap ass antics, and even all of the like, you know, in and out of jail stuff that they got going on, and all the beefs and weird stuff that they would always get into. And, you know, Bluetooth is like nice and sassy and likes to tell people about themselves too. But this is the thing that I was thinking about. I was just like, I can't stand like anything to do with Bluetooth and croissant. Like, I see them on a blog and I immediately start scrolling and my stomach even gets nauseous. I would be so entertained by Tekashi's antics because he was funny as fuck. At least he was smart. You know, he had some good ass comebacks. And the way that he used to be going at Meek used to crack me the fuck up. And I was just like, you know, even though he was an absolute complete fucking dumbass at the same time, like as far as all the like, you know, fake gangster stuff that he got himself involved in, like the kid really knew how to market himself, because we went from absolutely nobody in the world knowing who the hell he was, and then being like, who's this clown with rainbow hair that's running up and down the street in New York screaming words that nobody's ever heard before in their life, to all of a sudden being so fucking invested in his trial, being all caught up in all this drama. He was like topping Billboard charts. Like, he's a pretty fucking genius. And honestly, like, he should take a second career in like helping blow up new artists, because I could see him, like, if labels actually ever got their shit together and ever did A&R again or any of that type of stuff, like Tekashi like would be a good ass like marketing CEO of a label, don't you guys think? Or like a good ass manager, because he would know how to make sure that everybody knew who the hell his clients were. And especially too, like, if you, because when his whole like criminal situation popped off, I was like really confused, because, you know, like I mostly just paid attention when he was like fighting with people, but I didn't understand like all the elements of like who Treyway and all that stuff was. And so I started like one weekend, like I was sick, and so I was just watching like all these interviews and breakdowns on YouTube about the whole situation. And so I think it was the Angie Martinez interview that he did, and I think that was like right before he got arrested. And then there was like another interview that he had done like that same weekend too. But like he was talking about how like it was basically just him and his friend that like filmed all the videos, edited everything, like did like basically everything for him to like blow up. And it was just so crazy too, because I was like, dude, you were so fucking smart, and then you were so fucking dumb that then you let that whole Treyway shit come in, because the way that he explained things was that it was like, oh, them coming in as like they were gonna help him with his career and also provide him security, but like help him with like book shows and do all this stuff. And like, you know, it ended up being like, oh, now you're a part of this gang that you didn't know you were a part of. And like he got in over his head with stuff. But like the whole thing is like, dude, you were so fucking smart, and you'd already gotten yourself to such a point that people even knew who you were before these bozos even came into your life. Like, why the hell did you let that happen? And also, if you've ever listened to, I think it was Academic's interview that he did with Vlad TV, I believe it was, he was talking about how his involvement in helping to blow up Tekashi, you know, and his part in all of that, because he started promoting Tekashi obviously on his channel and everything. And he said Lucy and Grange came to him and was like, hey, I signed this guy, and, you know, can you like help us out with this? Because you know, at that point, Academics was kind of doing the same thing that No Jumper used to do, where they would like kind of promote or talk about like different like up and coming artists and underground rappers and stuff, and sometimes play some of their music. And so he basically like was getting paid for, you know, shoving Tekashi down everybody's throats at that time. And the reason why I was bringing this up is because obviously, you know, yes, Tekashi was a genius on his own too, but he was also, in a sense, a market, you know, an industry plant as well. And so that's why, like, you know, when you see certain blogs or certain YouTubers are like going so overboard to be like, oh my God, isn't so-and-so the best like new artist ever, you guys? And constantly like talking about them and constantly like promoting them. It's probably because, you know, Lucian Grange or whoever his counterpart at whatever label that person is signed to, you know, went to that blog and said, hey, listen, we're going to cut you a check if you're going to do this. And then if you guys remember on the Breakfast Club, didn't Jason Flea say that like Atlantic was cutting checks, but that they cut the smallest checks out of everybody? So obviously he had a big incentive, because we all know who is signed to Atlantic, to be her bestie and constantly be like, look at how great she is. So, you know, because he doesn't like Megan. And he certainly loves to kiss certain people's asses in the industry. But if you notice, the people in the industry's asses that he usually is kissing up to are bigger people like Jay-Z, Diddy, Beyonce. You know, now he seems to think he can throw barbs at them and that kind of stuff. But before that, you know, that's who he was kissing up to because he thought that they were going to do something for him. But he's nasty to everybody else. So obviously he was being incentivized to go be buddy with Carlos. And then on top of it, you know, I talked about his involvement with Crazy Days and Nights and all of that kind of stuff, and how he's involved with all of the hate train stuff on a previous video, and we went really into it on Patreon if you guys want to go back and look up that. But oh, listen, you guys, let's just real quick remember something. And I know we talked about this recently, and I can't remember if it was on here or in Patreon, but you can find it online. There's clips of it. When he was on Love and Hip Hop, he said that he had a tape of Moniece Slaughter doing things that obviously she would not want to have the whole entire world see. And I think he was talking to Princess. I can't remember because I didn't watch when he was on that season. But it was somebody that had a problem with Moniece, and they went to go talk to Jason about it. And Jason was like, oh, well, I have a tape of her, and trust me, she looks gross, and started talking horrendously about her body, and especially about her body parts down there and what they looked like, and said she will be so embarrassed and I will release it on my website. So he was basically threatening revenge porn against Moniece because some other girl didn't like her and somebody had sent him a tape. Mind you, he also threw a drink in Hazel's face that season too. So, like, obviously you have a history of being violent towards women, because I'm sorry, but if you're threatening that you're going to release revenge, you know what, against somebody, I take that as an act of violence as well, because you are trying to ruin that woman's life. Because somebody put her in a vulnerable situation. Either she didn't know she was being filmed or didn't think it was going to end up in your hands. But either way, she's a victim, and then you're being a predator towards her as a victim even more. And honestly, let me just say this too. When people want to go in on Moniece, she's had things like that happen to her on national TV. You think that that doesn't traumatize somebody, even though maybe those videos never came out? She probably always has to worry that at some point somebody's gonna leak it if he had it. And especially with all the Diddy stuff coming out and it, you know, being rumored that he has all these tapes on people, that's probably re-traumatizing this poor girl. Because I know that if somebody was threatening me on fucking national TV, that they had something on me that I didn't want everybody to know, I would feel very unsafe and probably have horrible anxiety. And you probably do always wonder who has it and is it ever going to come out? And I don't want my child to see something like that. So, you know, obviously we know that's not even the least of what that poor girl has gone through. So just keep in mind that people have mental health issues. Stop bullying them. She's been through a lot. And he's obviously one of the people that's traumatized this poor girl and added to it. And that just shows you what a disgusting piece of shit he is. But also let's consider going back to Diddy, right? Because that's what everybody's talking about, is that Diddy's got tapes of everybody because he had hidden cameras all over the properties and, you know, was filming people even in the bathrooms and all of that. And 50 Cent has, you know, keeps saying that that's what was going on his page. Well, who has a show on Revolt TV? And mind you, I remember when they announced that this person was getting a show on that channel, a lot of people were really confused because he's had shows on so many other networks and channels and they all fail. And so people were just like, I thought Diddy, you know, had this whole network because it was supposed to be propping up people who weren't given opportunities otherwise, you know. And there's plenty of other people, if you wanted to have like your own little Wendy Williams type show on your channel, like there is a plenty of other young bloggers that, you know, you could have given that opportunity to. Or shit, you could have put the Impressive channel on, you know, like, or Layla Lynn. Like, there's so many other talented people, Kempire, you know, who do this on this platform that are not horrible to people as well. Because think about it, there's so many people that don't like Jason that they probably don't want to come on your whole entire network, or definitely not going on his show. So you're going to automatically lose opportunities to get viewers and to make money when you work with people like that, versus if you did have somebody who is known as being pretty balanced and unbiased, like a Kempire. Like, he's so like the perfect type of a person to like have a, you know, type of show like that. If you want to be taken seriously as a network, because he's not abrasive, he's, you know, adorable and completely likable, and he has a really chill personality. I've seen him do interviews and he's really well prepared and he asks really great questions. He's extremely articulate. Like, he would have been somebody so perfect. Layla Lynn too, right? Like, that could have benefited Revolt and really pushed that narrative that Diddy was trying to send, that it's for black people and I'm for the black community and I want to help everybody that's black and put black people on. And he could have really rebranded, but he picked, if you think about it, the worst, nastiest people to be headlining the shows on that damn channel. Because Drink Champs, it's just an advertisement for all his fucking alcohol brands. And all that they do is just push people who, a lot of the people that they bring on there and get drunk and give weed to are people that are known for having substance abuse issues. Kanye has been very open that he struggles with alcohol, and they get him on there and pour liquor right down his fucking throat in the entire interview. and then freak out afterwards that he had a loose tongue and just said whatever the fuck he wanted to say, and then they were afraid of catching backlash for it and took it down. Look at what they did to poor Kodak Black. Like, it's just pushing the worst, you know, and then you got Noriega just sitting there. Freaking every time that anybody has anything of value to say, when he asks them a question, he has to interrupt them and ask them about some dumbass shit. Like, oh, do you like when you get tennis shoes if on the bottom of the sole it's white or black? Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything, Noriega? Like, shut the hell up. Like, they're sitting there telling you about how, like, their grandma dying, like, changed their whole life, and, like, that's why they started making music, and you're so invested in, like, their story. And he interrupts to ask some dumb shit like that, and then he'll be like, okay, take a shot, take a shot, take a shot. He never lets people finish what they're saying, and he always asks the dumbest crap. And he'll interrupt them to try to interpret what they're saying and get it completely wrong, too, because he'll be like, so Kanye, why do you want to produce your own clothing? And Kanye will be like, because I think that I always wanted to be able to reach a bigger audience and make things for, you know, $20 so people all had access to affordable, good quality clothing and employ people in America at the same time. And Noriega will be like, so you said fuck you to every other person in the industry because you think they're all pieces of shit. I was like, that's not what he was saying. Or my favorite, who's better? You know, and then it's let's pit people against each other and start a whole bunch of fucking drama there. And of course, it's always, oh, who's better, Cardi B or Nicki Minaj? You know, Drake or Kanye, like people that he knows like don't get along with each other so that they can drag whoever is like sitting at the table with them into whatever beef those other two artists have. And he just, it's the whole show is honestly, it just reminds me of something that Satan would have created, because he just wants to keep like people, you know, fighting with each other and in a dark place. Because especially, you know, think about it too. You have people, again, that I said are known for having substance abuse issues. And then you sit them at that table and pour liquor down their throat and hand them blunts the whole entire, you know, however many hours that they're there. How many people have relapsed and had to go back and refight all their demons after they were on a show like that? And again, remember that all of Wendy's problems started after Diddy gave her that Ciroc shot on her show. Exactly, Lynn. Well, that's the thing too that I always tell you guys. If you think about it, you know, Jay-Z and freaking Diddle Bop, you know, they're always, oh, it's Black excellence, Black owned. You got to do it for the Black community, like when they want you to buy stuff from them. But what are they really selling that's of value to the Black communities that they act like that they're doing this for and supporting? Alcohol, you know, Jay-Z wants to open a casino, partying. Like, they are not promoting anything that's really valuable or really gonna help anybody. They're not promoting books. They're not promoting scholarships for schools. They're not, you know, oh, here, come. If you're a really artistically talented person, you know, we're gonna have all these songwriters camps for kids to come to so that way they can, you know, learn or whatever. Like, it's nothing that's like, oh, we're really truly helping people. Yeah, you donate some money here and there to a school just so that way you can be like, look, I helped. But you're also doing it because it's an easy tax write-off as well. And so it's like, either give it to the government or give it to your local inner city school and get the good publicity for it. Of course, you're just going to choose that, right? So it's just like, but they're not promoting anything good. Then you see Carisha Please. you know, the other show that he's got on there that he's promoting. And she's on there talking about walking around on her fucking hands and knees like a fucking dog barking on a leash and getting pissed on. And again, pouring liquor down people's throats, making them, you know, asking them all kinds of like nasty ass fucking questions. Like, do you like to get pissed on too? And all this stuff. And it's like, so again, what is that promoting? I mean, I loved when Sweetie was on there because Sweetie did not give her one fucking answer. Sweetie was just like, so, I'm pretty. Anyways, like every time that Carisha tried to ask her some messy ass question, Sweetie was like, don't even. Like, she knew how to sidestep that. I was like, see, Sweetie's somebody that has media training and paid attention when she was in school getting that communications degree, obviously, because she knew not to be sitting there being like, oh yeah, I like to eat dudes' asses, and then like have that follow her around for the rest of her fucking life. Like, we now refer to Carisha as the urinal and the pissy girl and anything to do with getting peed on, right? Because she's the one that opened the door to that. Nobody else did. She's the one that talked about that. Just like she got mad because, you know, people were talking about her calling herself on an interview that she admitted that she said, oh, I'm a whore, and then got mad and tried to like change the narrative when people were referring back to that now that everything came out with Diddle Bop. And if you guys don't notice too, that is another big reason why she was so willing to go to bat against JT, because if you guys didn't see, the day before, her Finsta account got exposed and she had posted a picture of her and Diddle Bop on a balcony with the caption, Bobby and Whitney. And so that was going viral everywhere. And that's why people were bringing up her saying that she was a whore and the things that she was tweeting at Gina and all the other stuff. So it was like, you know, I need to push that down in the algorithm, and when my name comes up, have it only be connected to some other drama and this stupid ass song that nobody gave a shit about. So it was perfect timing to pick at JT, especially because everybody's already been going back and forth on the city girls don't seem like they like each other anymore for, you know, probably the last year anyways. So she knew that that was gonna blow the fuck up if she sat there and was like, yeah, look, I confirmed it. We don't fuck with each other anymore. And that was the most perfect excuse and so incredibly convenient, because then everybody latched on to that instead of all the other stuff that's been coming up, because she also got served papers. You know, she's been named in more lawsuits. So she's going to keep pulling stunts, you guys. So that just be prepared. Every time that you hear Carisha's name come up in connection to any of this diddle stuff, because there's going to be more, trust me. His kids will be getting more suits. Diddy will be getting more suits. Her and Santana will start doing all types of shit as a distraction. So that way, every time that you get online and see anything connected to them, hit a hashtag, search for them, whatever, the new shenanigans will pop up first to push down all of the other lawsuits and all the other shit that'll come out. And let me tell you something. At some point, Santana's name is going to come up in connection to all this diddle shit too. That's why Santana is going so hard, not only to defend Miami right now, but also why he's been so up her ass this whole entire time. Because guess what? Remember I told you guys, when shit really hits the fan, because we haven't even seen the shit actually truly hit the fan yet. It's brewing. Okay? that Carisha will be known as the new Ghislaine Maxwell, and Diddlebop will be painted out to be the new Jeffrey Epstein. And they'll probably connect him to Russell Simmons and connect all their shit to each other somehow too, because I also feel like Russell Simmons has been running, but he has not been able to outrun, and his time is coming too in connection to all of this. So we're gonna see that Santana comes up some way, somehow in all of this, because he may have been one of those people that Carisha was facilitating being in certain places and making money. Y'all can put 2 and 2 together as to what that means. Because remember, these people, you guys, I mean, these people, they're all depraved, okay? It doesn't matter if somebody comes out and says, yes, I'm pansexual or I'm not pansexual or whatever. I mean, they all be doing it with each other. So you would be surprised. Santana would be in high demand in certain circles that people like Diddy would be parts of. And TD Jakes will get exposed probably for maybe having anything to do with Santana. I wouldn't be surprised if that isn't like their connections back to the diddle stuff. And like, because you know how that guy that sued Diddy and said that Carisha, like, that they were trying to like make him like hook up with Carisha's cousin or whatever. And so that was like her first like being named and really connected to all of this stuff. And then when he amended the complaint, and then they added in that, oh, she was, you know, transporting things for diddle and all of that too. I keep feeling like there's another lawsuit that comes. And so that's where it names TD Jakes and Santana and other people in the sense of this is what I witnessed when I was there, you know, and that's how other people are going to get canceled too. So, anyways, wait. Who talks bad about Ashanti? Oh, Jason. Oh, I remember that because I didn't see it when it happened, but I just remember somebody else was talking about, like, just like men who had like, blogs and like, you know, channels or whatever, like that they should like not talk about women's bodies. Like if you just want to say like this person performed and they were so out of key and they sucked and the show stunk, like that's one thing. But to be like, oh, she looks so fat and her outfit was ugly, like you're a man, like why are you even noticing that? And you shouldn't be like, you know, talking about that because that overall doesn't have anything to do with like them as a artist and a person anyways. And I remember them saying that Jason was like tearing Ashanti apart because he said that the outfit that she was wearing like made her look big, and then it showed off the inside of her thighs that were dark, and they said that he was like saying she needed to go get lasers or bleach her skin or something. And I was just like, well, why didn't he get canceled? Because like, I mean, we should have really permanently canceled Jeffree Star a long time ago, but at least like people still drag him and bring up the fact that he told, you know, black women to go bleach their skin or use battery acid to lighten it. Like, why don't, I don't know. It just pisses me off because sometimes I'm like, Jason has done stuff and said things that are just as bad and just as horrible as people who were far more popular than him and were far more well-liked. And they got held accountable for it, and people still hate them to this day for it. But yet, nobody likes him, but yet nobody also, like, drags him or holds him accountable for all the horrible shit that he's done at the same time. And it's so crazy. I'm like, what is wrong with people? So, this was years ago, Teddy. the comments that he made about her thighs, because then the person that told me about that, they sent me like screenshots, and he posted the pictures like on his website. I think he got in trouble and had to take them down, if I remember correctly. Like, he got a call, but he posted like the most horribly unflattering, at the absolute worst angles, like pictures of her at this event. And I think it was like a Victoria's Secret event or something, so she was like wearing like, you know, lingerie, and it was too small for her. Like, obviously, like, whoever picked out the wardrobe, like, got her 2 sizes too small. And I just remember when I saw the clips of the performance being like, oh my God, because I was afraid a coochie lip was gonna fall out or something. But I didn't think she looked horrendous. Like, I still thought she looked good. I was just like, the poor girl, like, needed a larger size. And, you know, I can't remember if it was Victoria's Secret. I think it was, or it might have been like some bikini company or something. But it was like some type of fashion show thing, and she was singing while people were walking around her. But it wasn't like the best look ever. But he tore her apart and was like pointing out that she, you know what that whole situation reminded me of? How Perez Hilton used to do that to people on his website back in the day. Remember when he'd draw dicks all over the pictures, and he'd be like, look at how ugly she looks, and like, if God forbid any poor woman in Hollywood gained 5 pounds, he'd post a picture about it and talk about how they were getting fat. So that's what it reminds me of. And sometimes I'm like, Jason, you can just run a gossip blog, and you don't have to be really super fucking mean to everybody about it, and you don't have to always be so violent and negative towards women, because there is plenty of people who can report on this stuff and not go there, and, you know, they're well liked. But also, maybe you should pay attention to Perez Hilton and where he's at today, because nobody fucks with him anymore, and he should be at the top of the fucking food chain when it comes to this stuff, because he was really the first person that like made the whole blogging on the internet about gossip like game really pop off in the first place, and inspire the fact that people were like, oh, I could do this on social media. So what happened was people got sick of his nasty ass, you know, and they saw that he took it way too fucking far, way too many times, that even after he went through his whole like, I went to therapy and I changed and I'm a dad now and I want to be nice, like, you know, whole rebrand, people still like aren't buying it. And you see that all of the people that were like his peers in that, like Wendy Williams, like blew up far beyond him. So, because even Wendy started to tone it down, because she knew that it was going to be too much in the long run. And if she wanted to still like have a career, like she could still give it to you straight, but not have to go to the depths of hell either, the way that she used to. And she made that change early on enough that it wasn't after everybody canceled her and she tried to come back. It was while she still had an audience who were still going to be excited and listen to her regardless, you know, and move with her to a new platform. And so he messed that up. But it's like, Jason needs to pay attention to that, because he's going to fall right to the same fate as Perez Hilton, or worse, because this is the thing. Going back to the whole point of how he had that tape on Moniece, it's been rumored for a very long time that he supposedly has a bunch of tapes on people, or knows a lot of people's secrets. And so he uses that to his advantage, and that's how he gets into certain brunches and gets to be on certain networks and things like that. And now think about it. So say you are a Diddy who has all of these secret tapes on people, and you know that the reason why you have all these secret tapes on people is because if they try to cross me, I have something against them, so they won't even think about it, right? So thinking about how people in the industry, you know, are sometimes connected to some very shady people, would you be the only person in possession of that information, those secrets, those videos? Or maybe would you find some people that you know that if you give them the word, they will do the dirty work and unleash that shit out into the world for everybody to see if they need to take you down? So wouldn't you kind of sprinkle it amongst a few people, and somebody like a blogger who's willing to go to the depths of hell if they think that it's going to benefit them in some way or another might be somebody that's in possession or has some knowledge of some shit about certain people. So when you're scratching your head and wondering how the hell do you get to hang out around this person or that person, and even though they always seem like they can't fucking stand you, they have a conversation with you and they take pictures with you, cough cough Rihanna. Maybe it's because he knows some shit about her and her baby daddy that nobody, you know, would want the rest of the world to know. So she shows up to his events and she lets him come to hers, and she acts like she's cool with him when she sees him. So he has absolutely no reason to make sure that that information gets out, right? Which is probably why he got that show on that network in the first place. Allegedly, this is all lies just because we like to be big ol' liars over here for absolutely no fucking reason. Cough, cough, truth. Oh my God. He asked Sweetie about that. Jesus Christ. Do you notice, because I've seen like, it seems like every freaking interview that I ever see of Sweetie, people are always asking her like messy ass questions. Do you guys notice that? Like, they're trying so hard to drag this girl into drama. Because, like, you know, you said, like, oh, he asked Sweetie about Ashanti's thighs. Like, why the hell would you ask Sweetie about Ashanti's thighs? And especially, like, that whole situation happened, what, like 5 years ago? It was definitely a couple years before the pandemic. So probably more like 6 or 7 years ago. Like, why would you even bring that up years later? Yes, I did, Lindsay. To Sweetie, of all people, and especially because it's like Sweetie is known as being a girl's girl. I mean, look at, you know, that's why like everybody was like, dang, Glorilla fucked her over, because, you know, when she was trying to film that video with Glow, like, and the girls didn't have a budget for their outfits or wigs or makeup, like, she went and took everybody shopping and got them hair and makeup because she didn't want everybody looking fucked up in the video. And and then they cut her out of it in the end anyways. But it's like, Sweetie's definitely a girl's girl, because think about it. Like, if the tables were turned, do you think Carlos or Megan would do that? Hell fucking no. They would probably be so secretly happy that all those other girls were going to look low rent and ratchet, and that they were going to look the best on the set and be like, oh, good, I'm going to be the hottest one in the video. Cool, I'm glad you guys all look like shit. Like, and probably tell them, like, oh, put some purple lipstick on, even though it's going to look ridiculous or something to make it even worse. Whereas Sweetie's like, no, we're going to go get you a whole fucking, like, new outfit and make sure that you look good, because I want everybody around me to look good. So, you know, and everybody always says that she's really supportive and really sweet in real life, and they're always trying to drag her into stuff, because I always see, like, in interviews, they're always like, oh, what do you think about this person and this person not getting along? And like, you know, or do you have beef with anybody? And like, they just always are trying to get her to say some shit so that they can like make Sweetie have a problem with somebody. And it's like, just let her be, dude. Like, why can't she just like do her own thing and stay out of everything? But honestly, she needs a better PR person who also will like say from the get-go, like when they're like negotiating those interviews, that those types of questions have to be off limits. Because you can say like, I'm not going to talk about like my love life in this interview, or I'm not going to talk about like my mom being sick, you know, or like you want to keep certain things out of it. Like you can negotiate that when you're, you know, agreeing to do the interview. So she just needs somebody that's just gonna say, stop asking her about that type of shit. I'm proud of J. Cole. He really has a heart. Everyone's saying they mad he apologized, but this isn't his beef. Exactly. You know, he just caught a stray, but so anyways, you guys listen, because I gotta start wrapping it up and get off of here, because I have to call people before my kiddo gets back from school. As far as JT and Santana and Miami making up with each other, it is so not at all real. It's very like fake. Like, listen, I'm not saying that they're all like, oh, got on Twitter and lied and said that they apologized and they didn't. I'm saying, you know, yeah, they totally were like, oh no, girl, it's fine, you know, but both of them are like, I don't fucking trust you, bitch, after the phone call, you know, and basically, as far as JT is concerned, you know, exactly what she said in Sideways. You know, it'll never be the motherfucking old days. So things are definitely never going to be the same between them. Are they going to have more fights like this? Not really, because if they do, then it's just going to end up backfiring on both of them, no matter who starts it, because then it's just going to be like, oh, well, you guys are just, you know, mean girls or picking at each other, because obviously Carisha has to watch how, you know, even though she's got to have shenanigans happen in a sense in order to, you know, distract from like the real problems that she has going on, she also has to be careful to an extent of what those shenanigans are, because, you know, it's like you already have people bringing up all of the really vile, disgusting things that you said to Diddle's other bops, you know, when you were fighting them on Twitter that one time. So then you know, get in another fight with JT, then that's going to look bad, because then people are going to be like, okay, you're a mean girl and you're a madam. And JT obviously is also trying to rebrand herself. And while she feels the need to stand up for herself, she also doesn't want to get branded as the new industry problem child that has, you know, fights with everybody constantly. So I think, you know, that we'll get some fake support from them towards each other here and there throughout the rest of the year. But JT is going to continue to distance herself more and more and more and more and more from Carisha. And the thing is, she has to, though, regardless of if they even were like, oh my God, no, it's fine, we went back to being the best of friends all over again. Because Carisha really has so much problems ahead of her because of all the shit that she was involved in with Diddle Bop. And if JT was to continue to try to push being in a group with her and working with her and having herself so associated with Miami, then she's going to get so much blowback, and then people are going to be like, oh my God, you're supporting somebody who's a predator too, and we see how people have tried to do that to Nicki. And Nicki has been able to survive it because she had enough longevity and established herself enough as an artist that, and distanced herself enough from that situation that people really couldn't 100% pin it on her or take her down because of it. Whereas JT isn't in that space that, you know, her being too associated with Santana in Miami could blow everything up for her. So, but also Spirit saying like, she was so disgusted by what they were doing that's also why she was already distancing herself. And so when, you know, people were trying to act like JT thinks that she was better than them, it was more so, number one, that JT was just like, why are you guys like doing stuff like that? Like, ew, gross. And then secondly, JT's already gone to jail, and that was obviously extremely traumatic for her. So she's just like, no, fuck that. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near anything that could like make me have to go back to that place that I hated being and couldn't wait to get out of, right? So, well, I'll answer this question and then I have to go. But so just give me 1 second, Lindsay. As far as JT and Glorilla go, that beef is gonna keep simmering. Their Spirit is saying like those two, they just will never really like each other. Like it's just, they're so fucking different. You know, sometimes no matter what, you just cannot make yourself like somebody or get along with them. Even trying to force yourself, even being like, okay, we have these 7 things in common, just focus on those, and you're still like, I hate that bitch. And you just, no matter, and they haven't even done anything to you that you really have to hate them for, right? But then the second that they do something, you're just ready to fucking pop right off, right? Like, that's how they just are. And of course, Glorilla is always picking at JT and trying to start shit with her, but then acting like she didn't, you know? So they will probably get into it quite a few more times over the next 1.5 years or 2. So just expect that with those two. But Glorilla is going to kind of fall off anyways, and JT's on her way up. That, you know, if at some point Spirit's saying like if Glorilla keeps picking at JT and she's up on that trajectory as Glorilla's sliding down, people are just going to start saying like, oh look, she's doing what Carlos did to Nicki and just trying to attach herself to drama with her so that she can stay relevant. And it'll just blow right back up on her. And can JT push to end the group contractually? So this is the thing that Spirit's saying is, because you guys remember how Quality Control got bought out by like Scooter Braun's company? Spirit is saying that there's something that's going on anyways where they're restructuring because the same company that Scooter Braun owns that bought Quality Control bought up like a bunch of other smaller labels that were like on the same, you know, level as QC at that time. So Spirit said that like they're restructuring it to try to make it like one label and just keep certain artists that they retained through that deal and bring them on through that one label. So that alone is going to kick off like a bunch of people from QC and then some of the other labels that they also own that are, I forget which ones exactly, but so we'll see that, you know, that they'll probably also use this whole situation with Croatia to drop her from that and just dissolve the City Girls and retain JT and give her like some sort of a different contract or something as a solo artist. So that's what I keep getting from Spirit as far as that goes. But anyways, guys, I hope everybody has a good rest of your week. Patreon, I will post the links for your guys' live tomorrow morning or sometime tonight. I have a bunch of clients I got a call first today. If you guys want to book your own personal private reading with me, you can go to psychicbellalove.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it is psychicbellalove. And if you want to join us for exclusives, patreon.com/psychicbellalove. Make sure you like this live on the way out. It's a free way to help the channel, and subscribe. And I will be back next Wednesday, and it will be an evening live next Wednesday. We will have a special guest with us, so keep your eyes out on my Instagram stories and the community tab to see who that will be and what we will be doing. But it will definitely be worth tuning in for, because it is a big surprise. I love you guys. Everybody have a good one. Bye.